This is the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino and SP3 on the Bleav Podcast Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on a bit early today, but hey, when I work early, that means we can hit the road right here at 2 o'clock instead of 2:15, and we're not rushing to get SP3 to work at 3 o'clock. So that's how that works here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast on our normal day here on Tuesday. What a weekend in professional wrestling. I thought it was a really, really rock-solid Elimination Chamber pay-per-view from top to bottom. Mercedes Moné is the new IWGP Women's Champion. We all knew that was coming, but still, I'm so happy she's getting to live her dream. SP3, it was a really, really good weekend of professional wrestling. What did you think? Just kind of broad overview of Elimination Chamber. We're going to dive into the finer points of it, but of the entire weekend, Elimination Chamber included, what were your overall thoughts this past weekend?
Saturday was a great day for professional wrestling, especially if you're a professional wrestling fan. You had WWE Elimination Chamber, New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle in the Valley. It was one of their better United States shows with Mercedes Moné and Kyrie having the best match of the damn weekend. Yes, you heard me correct. Better than Roman and Sami, better than Men's Elimination Chamber. Right up there was Nagata versus Mirahara from All Japan Pro Wrestling. I just finished watching that. That was a great matchup as well. But a really great week for a weekend for professional wrestling. GCW had a great show in Los Angeles as well. As you know, I watch a lot of professional wrestling, and my star ratings just went up on my page. It's the pin tweet on my Twitter page at TrueHeelSP3 if you want to cherry pick through the best matches from the weekend. So yes, really good weekend for professional wrestling.
Yeah, see, this is why we have SP3 on the show for those who are new to the program, and we appreciate everybody who's joining us here as always. SP3 watches all of the wrestling, so you don't have to, because there's a lot of it. This man's full-time life outside of his family and his kids is professional wrestling. He watches it all. Me, I watch what I literally can, and that's pretty much just the main shows for WWE and AEW. But this is why I love SP3s, because he has the availability to dive into everything, and he is an overall expert on everything, which is another reason why I love him on the show, because he makes me look good. Sometimes he makes me look dumb, but regardless, it is what it is. We appreciate everybody who is in the chat so far. Steven and Safet, what is going on, guys? Get your comments in. What did y'all think of Elimination Chamber? What did y'all think of the Monday Night Raw afterwards? Give us your comments. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible throughout the entirety of the show. Steven says SP3 is the wrestling encyclopedia. I mean, this man, I asked him a pretty difficult question over the weekend, or I think Friday, while I was working on my latest article for Cage Side Seats. It took me a while to find this answer. I asked SP3 just to see if he knew, and this dude got it with inside of like what? 10, 15 seconds, depending on what it was, depending on how long it took you to actually see my message on Facebook Messenger. You got it inside all the way back to WrestleMania 22, for crying out loud. Like, it just absolutely ridiculousness, the stuff that you can pull off the top of your head. But regardless, there is a lot that we are going to get into today. And yes, that includes a lot of conversation surrounding Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, the Usos, Cody Rhodes, all of the main event scene. Absolutely incredible weekend for Sami Zayn. It was not the storybook ending that a lot of people were hoping for. We will dive into that. John Cena is on his way back to WWE. We will talk about that. Speaking of SP3, they think they can land some major soon-to-be free agents. In fact, they are downright confident in a couple of them. That would be pretty interesting. There was a Hall of Famer at Raw last night who was supposed to be used, but wasn't. And all of a sudden, it looks as though, by my count, SP3, and we'll dive into them, we have, I think, 11 matches that are locked in for WrestleMania right now, which doesn't open a lot of positions left on the card. Brock Lesnar may have a surprising challenger. God, I hope not. And we're 2 weeks away from an AEW pay-per-view, but you might not realize that based off of the ticket sales. So we will dive into all of that today. First things first, Got to thank our friends over at Bet Online. We would not be here without them. They remain your number one source for all of your betting needs this season. Pro, college basketball, and NBA is pro basketball, excuse me. UFC, MMA, Major League Baseball is getting ready to start. If you're a freak, you can bet on spring training games if you really want to, probably. Get the latest odds, team matchup information, player news, game trends. It's all there at Bet Online. Live betting options, free contests, scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. It is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite leagues and events. Go to the website today or use your mobile device. Join, receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav to get those rewards. That is BLEAV, betonline.ag, where the game starts. Again, thank you for tuning in today. If you're new to the show, go ahead. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. We are climbing. We are climbing as much as we can, hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers, followers, whatever they're called, by the end of the year. And if we get to 600 by the end of February, somebody's going to win $50 to AEW shop or shop, well, WWE shop, shop AEW, whatever the hell it is, whichever company you want $50 free to. All right. I am struggling today. Whatever. I got foggy brain, man. My brain is fog. This is going to be a slog today, so bear with me, guys. You want 50 free bucks, bottom line, to whichever company store you want. We got to get to 600 subscribers by the end of the month, and then we will draw one of you lucky subscribers' names, and you will win $50 on us. It's that simple. So like, share, hit that subscribe button, push the thumbs up, tweet us out there, tell your friends if they like pro wrestling to come in and tune into us here on Bleav in Pro Wrestling. SP3, so much of this past weekend was, let's be honest, this was Sami Zayn's weekend in WWE. The ovation that he got Friday when he came down to the ring in Montreal was one of the best things I've seen in quite some time. I've been a fan of Sami Zayn professionally and just him as a human being for quite some time. I have always thought he was one of the most overlooked talents in WWE, and somehow he always found a way to, shine and turn whatever WWE gave him. He was the king of polishing turds as far as like creative storylines. He always found a way to make things work, but never was able to rise to the level of, what he should have a long time ago because he was anchored down by creative or wasn't put in the right positions. And for him to be in this spot this weekend, to get that hero's welcome, it was 5 minutes, easy, 5-6 minutes before Sami Zayn even had a chance to talk. First off, they gave us Worlds Apart back, which was chef's kiss. Thank you very much. A nice touch. The crowd went nuts. They're singing with the song. They're doing the Olay chants. They're giving Sami the "you deserve it" before he even stepped into the ring with Roman Reigns. And then he just goes into this passionate promo about, Roman, you're in my fucking house, which he said in plain French. We found out later after we did the translation. You're going down, MFer, and this, that, and the other thing. The crowd was eating it up. They were behind him. They were just as loud, if not louder, at Extreme Rules, at Elimination Chamber on Saturday. That match was just pure storytelling at its finest. Those were two guys who went out there, and yes, it was a great wrestling match, but it was a fantastic story that they told in that match. And yeah, we all knew there were going to be shenanigans at the end. That was a given. Double ref bump, I'm fine with it. Jimmy Uso gets involved, had a feeling that was coming. Jey Uso gets there, and man, for a half second, all it took was one little look at Roman, and I thought they were going to do the impossible. Like, they sold me down the river for a half second, like, motherfucker, they're going to have Jey Uso cost Roman the belt. Ultimately, they didn't do that. Jey Uso, very indecisive about what he was going to do. Ultimately, Roman Reigns got in his face. He ends up eating a spear. Roman hits Sami with the steel chair. Bob's your uncle. It's over. The ref finally wakes up, conveniently enough, to count the 3 count for Sami Zayn, and the crowd was just absolutely silent. They couldn't believe what they had just saw. Kevin Owens comes down. Crowd goes nuts. And then we fast forward to Monday Night Raw and SP3. It's not going to be something as simple as, oh, Sami Zayn and KO, they're going to hug it out. They're going to forgive all their misdeeds. And, it's going to be them versus the Usos. We're going to get there, but it's going to be a process to get there. And I don't mind that at all. everything that went down on Saturday and this past Monday, again, I'll go back to storytelling. I am a story guy. I thought it was fantastic storytelling from WWE on all counts. I love the fact that Kevin Owens is not like, yeah, let's be friends again. He's like, no, F you, forget you for everything that we've been through. Screw you. Go hang out with your buddy Jay. This, that, and the other thing. I love Jay being indecisive, still not being able to make a choice, family or his new best buddy in Sami Zayn. But I can't help SP3 look at the situation on Saturday and think that WWE passed up what could have been an all-time moment that would have been remembered for as long as the company exists. And I mean right up there with Mick Foley winning the WWE Championship on Monday Night Raw. Sami Zayn winning the title, regardless of how he won it, winning the championship in Montreal, the pop, the celebration, the pomp and circumstance, all of that would the culmination of Sami Zayn's Cinderella storyline and his rise. That would have been an all-time moment. They decided to let it pass by to stick to the plan with Roman and Cody at WrestleMania, KO and Sami versus the Usos. It's a lot to take in. I think it was a tough choice. I would not be surprised if they seriously considered putting the belt on Sami. Do you think they ultimately made the right decision? And what did you think about what we saw this weekend?
I thought Roman and Sami had a tremendous matchup, one of the best WWE main events in quite some time, honestly. I thought these guys were on the top of their game. Roman was just a perfect heel and just getting every ounce of heat that he possibly could from the Montreal crowd, and how he was talking trash to Sami's wife, and the crowd was excellent. Sami Zayn was a pure baby face fighting from underneath, the underdog baby face, just working so well. I understood, the first ref bump and, Sami getting the visual pin. I understand Jimmy Uso coming out. I understand Jey Uso coming out. I don't understand the second ref bump. Second ref bump took me out of the matchup a little bit. And then how the match ended, it felt very deflating. I feel like you always tell me, I'm very good at nitpicking stuff and making it slightly better. Sami kicks out of that spear, and then Roman puts him in the guillotine, and Sami passes out for the loss. That would have been much better than just spear 1, 2, 3. I feel like you could have got one big more pop out of that matchup if Sami kicks out of that last spear after the chair shots. And then he just passes out. He doesn't get pinned. He doesn't submit. He just passes out. And you can even have him like try to rally in the guillotine, and then he just passes out. I feel like it still would have got, the deflating result and the silence from the crowd, but you could have juiced that and end the match at the peak instead of it ended like it was like this, instead of you ending it at this.
It also felt like the referee thought Sami was going to kick out. Like his last 3 count came down and he did that little swoop move, and it's almost like we didn't get the hard crisp 3 to definitively end the match. So I don't know if he got lost or forgot what was going on. And I'm talking about the referee, not Sami. That didn't help. It didn't help.
Yeah. So, and then like the big thing for me is that the story was great within the matchup, but I wasn't expecting Sami to win. What I was expecting is one of two big things to progress this story forward, which was the Sami Kevin reunion or Jey Uso making a decision. And we got neither. So that also felt like a letdown to me. I know there's more of the Sami and Kevin story to talk about, and I'll bring up Raw as well. And I like to follow up on Raw. But honestly, when I just thought about it as you were recapping everything, they could have just done the hug at Elimination Chamber. But then, like they hug and Kevin pushes him away and walks out. They could have done that, where they do both things, where he's like caught up in the moment Sami for accomplishing it, what he was able to do, coming so close, and then he just says nah, that, and then walks out. That would have been you're washing both hands, like we were talking about before the show, of could they wash both hands by having Sami win and then getting the belt back on Roman. They could have washed both hands by having the hug, getting the huge pop from that Montreal crowd, and then Kevin pushes him away, gives Sami his moment in the ring, and you end the show the way they just did. And then we could have got the follow-up of why he did that on Raw, and he could have done the same thing. So like thank you for recapping everything, because that would made me think, because I was like, after Raw, I was like, okay, I'm fine with them not doing the hug there and then doing this segment here. It makes sense. But then when I just thought about it as you were recapping, I was like, no, they could have done both. So
yeah, it definitely seems like they want to build up to that moment over the course of the next several weeks. This match,
but you will never get the reaction like they would have gotten in Montreal, though.
Yeah,
like if you're not going to get the Sami win, you at least should have gave them the reunion. You should have at least gave them the hug. At least give them the hug. You don't have to do the full-on reunion, but at least give them the hug to end the night on a high instead of end the night kind of on the low. But the Raw segment, that was tremendous. That was the best part of Raw. Raw started on a peak, and then it slowly went down from there. But
a little blip.
I love Sami, trying to get Kevin to team up together to take down the bloodline. I love Kevin Owens' reaction and being like, no, my family had to watch me get beat down while you just stood around there at the Royal Rumble. However, I did put on my Twitter, and I will say it here, Kevin Owens, you are a petty little bitch, because you, sir, have been betraying and beating your best friend's ass for the better part of 15 years in front of his family. So how dare you? How dare you? You are like the guy that owes someone $1 million, and that person doesn't say anything about you owing them $1 million. But then you give them like a quarter for the freaking for the car, for the meter on the car, and you're asking for the quarterback. That's what you are. That's what you are, Kevin Owens. You're a petty individual, because it should be like, and I kind of have betrayed you for like almost 2 decades. So maybe I should give you a little slack, because
they got time. They got time to get there, though. They're gonna get there.
Yeah, they got time to bring that up, but there's just a lot, because I have been a fan of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for that whole 15-year period. The first time I ever saw them in person was in 2007, them versus the Briscoes at Manhattan Mayhem 2007 in the Hammerstein Ballroom in the summer of 2007, and I was just a college student at that point. So from here to there, I have seen it all between these two individuals. So it's just like, come on, Kevin, you acting kind of petty, but that's just me reacting to the story that is playing out on the screen. So I enjoy all of that, and I'm willing to watch it all play out. But as far as the matchup, like I said, the match was great. I just feel like it could have been like 5 stars. Great matchup. I gave my star rating. You can see it on my Twitter page. It wasn't 5 stars because I feel like it could have ended better.
Yeah, and again, man, it fell flat. It really felt deflating for me, because I really got sucked into the moment, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, man, I wanted it. Like, I wanted that fuck it, shoot first, ask questions later style of booking. Like, I craved it. I wanted Sami Zayn to win that title so damn bad. I wanted him to run down to the ring apron and give his wife a hug and a kiss with the belts in his hands like it was his newborn kid, right? Like, I wanted him to run around and get carried through the stands like he was crowd surfing at a rock concert. I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. WrestleMania be damned. Figure that shit out later. I wanted it so bad, and they passed up on it. SP3, those kind of moments don't come around every day. They don't come around every year. They had a chance to do it. They decided not to. I hope that they get us a moment that is as good or as close as humanly possible with Cody Rhodes winning at WrestleMania. And God damn it, he better win at WrestleMania now, because if he doesn't, holy shit, now you've just beaten both of the 2 competitors that you have put together, and where the fuck do we go from here with Roman Reigns defending the title?
All I will say, I had more people messaging me being like, now I'm kind of on your side of Roman beating Cody, because that would be the most hilarious booking in WWE history if they did that. But no, it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that Cody's going to end the reign. But to me, that just feels really manufactured. It feels very telegraphed, more than it being like the organic moment that Montreal would have been for Sami. I totally understand the people that believe Sami Zayn should have won. I totally understand the people that was like, no, you should just go with the stuff that makes sense. It was a good finish. There's people that I disagree with, how they think it's a perfect match. No, it's not. It wasn't. It was near perfection though. So that's what I think that they can hang their hat on, is that they told the story that they wanted to. But I do agree with you that you don't get moments like this. The last time they had a moment like this was CM Punk in Chicago in 2011. They pulled the trigger then, and they got themselves a new main eventer they were able to ride to the bricks till the wheels fell off until 2014. And now Sami Zayn, it still seems like they are still positioning him as a main eventer, and that's what we should definitely have, is that he should be firmly established as a main eventer now.
Yeah, it just, again, this is right time, wrong place situation for Sami, and the fact that it just happens to be the 1 year that we're coming up on WrestleMania that we have 2 white hot contenders and 1 world championship. Vince McMahon's booking coming from beyond the grave to fuck over what could be a very, very good WrestleMania Night 1 with Sami Zayn winning the belt, and WrestleMania Night 2 for Cody. I had people hit me up on Twitter saying the fact that Sami's loss was a smack in the face to the fans that are cheering for him. And I will counter that by saying no, because one of the things that I was very interested in last night was how Cody Rhodes was going to be perceived after Sami lost. And Cody was still massively over with that crowd last night in Ottawa, in Sami's home country of Canada. So I think people, the people on Twitter, your hardcores, you have your fans. I know you all are going to have your opinions. You're very passionate about it. The main fans, the ones who are packing the stadiums, the ones who are watching on a casual basis, they're in with both Sami and Cody. So WWE had really a no-lose situation. But man, the moment was there. It was there for the taking, and they just decided not to do it. And it makes me sad. Like, it's still sad that I didn't get to see that moment. I hope Sami does. Somehow, because the stars never align, and all the stars were nearly there. They just needed 2 world titles, and they could have put one on Sami in Montreal. I hope Sami gets his moment one day and he does win a world championship. That needs to happen. But he and Kevin Owens are winning those damn tag team titles finally. So it almost feels like a consolation prize. It's like, yeah, he's not going to get the world title, but we're going to give you that Sami and Kevin Owens tag team title run you guys have been asking for 8 goddamn years. We're finally going to give it to you. And it's going to happen probably main event night 1 at WrestleMania. Safet saying the women's chamber match was great. The men's match was awesome as well. I do have to say, I genuinely enjoyed both Elimination Chamber matches. I can't remember a women's match that I enjoyed more. I loved the and that's, again, that may fall on, my memory on this one, but like I loved the character work of Nikki Cross. I thought she made the most of her minutes. Liv Morgan with the spot of the night until Montez Ford turned into Spider-Man with the sunset flip off the top of the pod. I thought she looked good, even though she was the second person eliminated. Asuka looked like an absolute buzzsaw. And I'll tell you what, one person who I think has absolutely elevated themselves, or at least has had their booking elevated since they came back, is Carmella. I don't know what the plan for her is going to be at WrestleMania, and we'll talk about it, SP3, but given how she has been presented, how she has been booked since she came back, I think Triple H brought Carmella back to be a player. I don't know how big of a player, but she's not going to be some bit role character that she was and just parading down going, look at how hot I am. She's going to be a contender for a while based on how they have brought her back. In my opinion, that's what I'm reading into this.
Yes, it does seem like that. I just felt like the women's elimination chamber was going very well until they pressed the fast forward button after Liv Morgan got eliminated. Like, they rushed through Natalia getting eliminated, Raquel getting eliminated, and then Carmelo getting eliminated. I would wish that they would have put, gave more shine to those women after Liv Morgan, because the match was going very well, and I was really going to be there with Safet and you and saying it was a great women's elimination chamber and arguably one of the better ones. But I will take, Alexa and Bianca going at it at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Bianca going at it with Rhea in that one. I will take the Mustafa finish with Sasha and Bailey back in 2008 when she was on top of the pod and she just kicks her. I love that. That's one of my favorite spots in an elimination chamber ever.
But remember that. I gotta go. You said 2018. I gotta go back.
2018. Alexa wins, but this is when Sasha and Bailey were like friends. But Sasha would always turn on Bailey at the key points.
Yeah.
One of those key points.
Because Bailey was always the.
And I will take the 2019 when Sasha and Bailey became the women's tag team champions for the first time over any of those. In my opinion, that's the best women's elimination chamber. But this one was a good one.
Now, I love the men's elimination chamber match as well. I thought that was booked about as well as you could book it, with the exception of I really wanted Montez Ford to make it to the finals. Like I did. I felt like the win got taken out of the sails of the match, because once it got down to Seth and Austin, you knew Austin was retaining because Seth Rollins has got his thing going on with Logan Paul. You had a feeling Logan Paul was going to show up, but my goodness, they made Bronson Reed look incredible, even though he was the first one eliminated. How many finishers and setup moves did he take to get him eliminated? Like 4 or 5 before he was finally out. But Ford gets that big elimination there. That was great. Johnny Gargano had a hell of a time in that matchup. He had some really, really good spots. I thought Damian had his points to shine, but Montez Ford was the absolute star of the match. And I think you could have had Damian be the one that took the stomp and needed help getting out of the chamber to allow Logan Paul to come in and eliminate Seth Rollins as the third competitor out and leave and have an action, give him Ford a little bit more time to shine and give us hope and drag along that Montez might shock the world and pull it off before Austin Theory pulls it out. But I really can't complain much about that men's chamber match. They did exactly what they needed to do, and then decided to follow up on it by not having Johnny Gargano or Montez Ford on Monday Night Raw last night.
Weird decision. But yeah, I thought that match was tremendous. One of the best matches of the entire weekend. Everyone looked good coming out of it. I do agree that Montez probably should have had more time, especially I think it was like 3 minutes between Damian Priest getting eliminated and then Montez getting eliminated. If they would have let him shine for maybe just 2-3 more minutes before he take anything, I think they made the right decision as far as how everybody was eliminated and what order everybody was eliminated. I just wish that every time somebody's eliminated, you open the door to the chamber, so you don't need to telegraph that Logan Paul is coming out by doing the whole officials and referees with Montez. That made it obvious. I was like, oh, okay, Logan Paul's
Logan's coming out.
Yeah, I was like,
that door was wide open.
Exactly.
Wide open.
Exactly. But he's fast. Like, just have him run out when somebody gets eliminated.
Yeah.
Or I came up with an even better one when I did my review on Trio Heat is have Logan come in as like a cameraman. And then you don't have the deflating of with the officials and referees, you being like, oh God, something's about to happen. If you're a wrestling fan, you kind of knew that was going to happen when that happened. But as that's happened, you could do that same thing. Instead of Logan running out, have him be a cameraman and he does the reveal that it's him. And then you get the from the fans and then he interferes.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I can't complain. Triple H forgot to give Montez his flowers during the press conference, but look, we were all sitting there saying, all right, now say Montez's name. Now say Montez's name. Say fucking Ford's name, motherfucker, because he was the star of the match. He made up for it online afterwards. So again, cool. Javon saying it was odd that they did an update on Gargano, but nothing about Ford. It was a weird choice not to have Montez Ford. I don't know if they're selling the concussion or whatever the heck that they needed to. This is what I was concerned about, though, SP3, and we'll talk about this coming up here, is, we had Andrew Thompson from Post Wrestling on our Elimination pre-show. I looked at this match as the ticket puncher to WrestleMania for 4 of the dudes in this match. And now all of a sudden, 3 of the dudes that were in this match that were eliminated, they weren't even on Raw last night. I don't know how they're getting to WrestleMania. Bronson Reed, maybe he's going up against Otis. Is that a WrestleMania match? I don't know. But again, we will get there because, again, I Bleav by my count, we have 11 WrestleMania matches locked in. How many more are we going to get to? We talked about Austin Theory. You're going to get your wish, SP3, because this is one of the 11, guaranteed. John Cena coming back to WWE next month on Raw, I Bleav March 5th or 6th, whichever day it is, in Boston. He's a Massachusetts boy. Austin Theory is going to be there ready and waiting. It's not going to be an open challenge, I don't Bleav, SP3, like you laid out. They gave us the open challenge last night between Theory and Edge. Great match, even though they telegraphed you knew. You absolutely knew Finn Balor was getting involved in that. Triple H is on his bullshit when it comes to bullshit finishes right now. But anyway,
Dude,
Theory
that was
beats
like
Edge.
one of the worst bullshit finishes because the referee fully just turns around, even though he saw someone coming out and interfere. I'm gonna turn around till the time. No, that was just a 2. Those are just a 2, so Finn can interfere. Here you go.
So yeah, we're gonna get this. This is going down. It's gonna be Theory. It's gonna be John Cena. It's gonna be for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. I didn't necessarily think it needed the United States title, but as you have talked about on this show before, there's so many similarities between these guys. Having the United States Championship be on the line between these two just makes sense.
It definitely did need the United States Championship because that's how Theory is guiding over. It's him being the United States champion. But if Theory would have lost the title and, angry Theory, like calling out John Cena, yeah, but that wouldn't have the same effect and it wouldn't be the same Austin Theory. The reason that this is an interesting matchup is because he's coming in as champion. He's talking about a forever reign. He's talking about he's the now, and now he's versing the past, the guy that he's trying to eclipse. It just makes all the world of sense. I love the decision for Edge to challenge him as well because Edge is a longtime rival of him. So a rival of Cena. So he could say, I've beaten your greatest rival on Monday Night Raw. I've defended the U.S. title against some guys that have beaten you, like Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley and all, he could say all that. So it just makes all of sense why this is for the United States Championship. And most of all, what I said on our prediction show, I'll repeat again, it makes the United States title in a major matchup. If you put the United States Championship on anybody else, it's just going to be a mid-card kind of forgotten match at WrestleMania. This way, this will be remembered for years to come. John Cena versus Theory for the United States Championship.
It is a moot point, but I think my idea of Ford versus Angelo Dawkins would have been.
It would have been forgotten. Like no matter how good it is, it's never going to be pushed as that in the build-up. It's never going to be viewed as important.
I know, but hey, I still have good ideas from time to time. SP3, you remember back? I don't know, like last year. Well, had Cody Rhodes shown up yet? Like even just around this time last year, Cody Rhodes working without a contract. Is he coming back to WWE? All this stuff. Yeah, it's never going to happen. Well, wait, maybe it might happen. Is he going to show up at WrestleMania? Who the hell knows? Cody talks it falling through. What I'm saying is, at this time last year, Cody Rhodes, we weren't even sure if he's going to be in WWE, let alone winning the goddamn Royal Rumble, let alone facing Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania Night 2 in Los Angeles, where he's probably going to finally realize his dream and win the WWE Championship. Anything can happen, SP3. Anything can happen. So keep that in mind with this reporting here from WrestlingNews.co that WWE not only wants Kenny Omega, whose contract is reportedly up somewhat soon. There is some dispute about that. Tony Khan could possibly add some injury time onto that, in which case he probably wouldn't be a free agent for several more months. But also the fact that Fightful believes that they're relatively confident they at least have a chance to land Kenny Omega. And then on top of that, Wrestling Observer says that WWE right now are the favorites to land Jay White, to bring him, the Switchblade, in to WWE. Could you imagine a scenario within the next few months, whether that is, let's just say this time next year, SP3, could you imagine a scenario this time next year where Jay White and Kenny Omega are in WWE?
Yes, because after 2022, anything is possible, ladies and gentlemen. But Kenny Omega signing with WWE would be like a death nail to AEW. I'm sorry. Like, that's like the biggest guy you could lose. They could survive losing Cody Rhodes. They have survived all this stuff with CM Punk, depending on who you're talking to. Some people say they haven't survived that, but they have survived all of that. But losing Kenny Omega, like the first major free agent that they signed, a guy that became the EVP, the most successful AEW world champion of all time, basically based on how long he held the title. He's the longest reigning champion, and the ratings, the pay-per-view buys that he got as the world champion on top in 2021. He was the champion when they got back on the road after the pandemic. Kenny Omega is so important to AEW. He's having fun right now in the trios, but you can easily position him back into the main event scene. He was a part of one of the greatest tag team champions of all time, and he was a part of the greatest story that AEW has taken, or 1A, 1B, with CM Punk versus MJF, with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, and the journey to Hangman Adam Page's first AEW World Championship reign. That would be cataclysmic for the AEW if WWE signed Kenny Omega. But I think that it is sealed and delivered. WWE is signing Switchblade Jay White. You don't do two loser leaves matches, loser leaves Japan and loser leaves NJPW, if he's signing with a company that is partners with NJPW. It doesn't seem like that would make a whole bunch of sense. So that's why I think Jay White is going to WWE.
If Kenny Omega leaves AEW, Tony Khan is going to have to change the name of the company, because if Kenny leaves, I'm willing to bet there's a chance the Young Bucks leave, in which case AEW is going to go to NEW, no Elite Wrestling. How can you call it all Elite Wrestling when you have none of the elite in the company? That would be unfathomable. And if I'm Triple H, I'm trying everything in my power to make that happen. Not just because, forget the fact that Kenny Omega is a world-class athlete and an absolute superstar and can help elevate my company, but it is exactly what you said, SP3. If they lose Kenny Omega, if they don't get Jay White, if they end up losing the Young Bucks, who have been teasing the fact that their contracts are up soon, oh my goodness. Hey, CM Punk, welcome back to AEW. Let's just go ahead and call it CMW, CM Punk Wrestling, because that's exactly what you're going to get. Oh, and by the way, what happens at the end of this year as well, SP3? Oh, yeah, that's right. MJF's contract comes to an end, and the bidding war of 2024 gets underway. Things are about to get very, very interesting. Last night on Raw, SP3, we were supposed to get another big return in Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. This is somebody whose name has popped up the last couple of weeks, was supposed to be on Raw the last couple of weeks, ended up not showing up. Fightful says she was even in the building in Ottawa last night, SP3, but was not used after a creative change. This makes me literally scratch my head. I don't know where Trish Stratus actually lives. I assume she lives in Canada. Does she live in Ottawa? I don't know. But you make her travel to Ottawa. Let's just assume she traveled to Ottawa. She's at the arena. She's in the building. You are ready to use her. This isn't like, all right, Mia Yim, you're here, but we're not going to use you tonight. We'll put you on main event, or this, that, and the other thing. This is Trish Stratus. She's not traveling with the company. You brought her here for a specific reason, and then went, you know what? Nah. This is confusing to me, which makes me wonder, SP3, what changed? What happened? In which case, let's roll into this.
It's time to answer the 5 count on the Bleav Podcast Network.
According to Fightful SP3, Sean Rossap always does great work. On the internal rundown sheet, Trish Stratus was supposed to come out during Ding Dong Hello. Very happy that Ding Dong Hello came out. Very happy that Bailey was back in her Sally Jesse, Ricky Lake type role. She always does really, really good with those. Damage CTRL is there as her guest. She's hyping him up. They're having a good time. Dakota Kai still selling the knee with the crutches. Then Becky comes out. Her new idea to get to WrestleMania SP3 is to go after the tag team titles. And Bayley goes, well, you don't have any friends. Conveniently forgetting the fact that it was Lita who helped, her win the damn cage match 2 weeks ago. But regardless, I'll fast forward here. Lita comes out. They challenge for the tag team championships. Trish is nowhere to be found. The match gets made official for next week, so I guess Dakota is fine. We are going to get Becky and Lita challenging Damage CTRL for the tag team titles. And now all of a sudden, we're in a situation where it seems like Becky Lynch is going to be involved in some way, shape, or form at WrestleMania SP3, but is it going to be defending the tag team titles, maybe against Ronda Rousey or Shayna Baszler? Or is there going to be some shenanigans afoot next week that allows Damage CTRL to retain, and we end up getting this 6-woman tag that was reportedly in the works for Elimination Chamber, or at least speculated? Which one would you rather see at WrestleMania?
First of all, I just want to say that Ding Dong Hello segment was trash. I mean that in the most respectful way possible, but it was trash. Dakota Kai, I really enjoy her as a performer. Her promo was not good. The Bayley just being like, you don't have any friends, forgetting that Lita helped her lose a steel cage match. And then Becky and Lita, I think they're both really good promos on their own, but together they came off so unlikable. Like, they're saying, oh, we deserve a title match because of all the stuff Lita did almost a damn decade ago, and Becky Lynch that hasn't held the title in a year. Like, what are we talking about here? They just came off like absolute unlikable people. And they're the baby faces. The only part that was good about that is that they goaded Bayley into another matchup. And that seems to be the thread or the narrative that they've been building up throughout this feud, is that they keep goading Bayley into matches. So I like narrative threads, but it also feels like you keep repeating the same thing again. Not really a narrative thread, it's just you keep doing the same thing. So, oh man, I really wanted to enjoy that segment. Because I always say I'm happy to see Lita back, but there was so much wrong with that segment. As far as the answer to this question, I want to see the 6-woman tag. The 6-woman tag makes more sense. For that to happen, though, I would need Ronda and Shayna to win the titles before WrestleMania. So hopefully we can do both, where Ronda and Shayna can win the tag team titles before WrestleMania, and they defend it against maybe Liv and Raquel and Nikki and Candice, because possibly because that I don't think it's a long-term thing with Nikki and Candice, but you can shoehorn them in and get them on the card, and then after WrestleMania, Nikki can get her real friends back, Sanity, and then you can do a Candice and Nikki feud. But for WrestleMania to get them on the card, do that. They love the multi-team matches, so there you have 2 other matches for the women outside of the title picture. So you have 4 women's matches in total. I'd be all for that.
This is interesting because you could do that. You could do something where, because it would be very easy to put the belts on Shayna and Ronda ahead of WrestleMania. You have, Bayley cost Lita and Becky on Monday. Damage CTRL gets put in a match in a couple of weeks with Ronda and Shayna, and then Becky costs Damage CTRL the match, actually helping Ronda Rousey, which would be interesting. And then you can set up Raquel and Liv in the remaining weeks that you have on SmackDown. That would be totally fine. You could add maybe Candice and Mia Yim. They've kind of been together. They could be a tag team as well. Part of me thinks one of the matches that's going to get added to WrestleMania, though, is a returning Eric Young and Nikki versus Candice and Johnny Gargano at WrestleMania. I think a mixed tag match might be in the works if they decide to do that. And then the rest of Sanity shows up at Mania and they do the reunion there.
I'm sorry. I like my WrestleMania matches when the people are actually reacting to them, and no one in that match is exactly what I call over. So that sounds like a good Monday Night Raw match, but as far WrestleMania, I'm not saying you're wrong and that it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that I think that if it does happen, it ain't getting no reaction from that.
Well, you got 6 weeks to build up to it, and Johnny Gargano has a little bit of momentum coming up now.
We're not getting Eric Young coming back next week, regardless of how much you build it up. Eric Young coming with a month before WrestleMania and then trying to be on the WrestleMania card, he ain't gonna be over with the LA crowd. And Johnny Gargano, they still gotta continue.
Off topic, damn it!
They gotta continue the run.
What I'm saying is, I could see that match being there. But regardless, you could do it that way, or you know what, man? There's part of me thinking, yes, you could do the 6-woman tag match as well, but you could also do a situation, and this is where I'm almost leaning, is the fact that you go ahead and you do a triple threat match after Becky and Lita win the tag team titles on Monday. You do Becky, Lita, Damage Control, Ronda, and Shayna, triple threat match for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. That way you can get you can get Ronda and Becky in the same ring at the same time, kind of test the water, see if there is some interest in revisiting that after that initial match was scrapped because they thought nobody cared about it anymore. You could maybe rekindle some flames there. And then you're asking me what I do with Bayley, right? Bayley faces Trish Stratus one-on-one at WrestleMania. I think that would be something that I would love to see, and Bayley get a big marquee one-on-one matchup and not leave her off the card, because I think you're going to have plenty of room, SP3, to do both of those matches, because we have right now, by my count, we have 11 matches. All right. We got Roman, Cody, Charlotte, Rhea, Bianca, Asuka. Those are the 3 that are locked in. After that, Theory, Cena, that's happening. Rollins, Paul, that's happening. KO and Sami versus the Usos, that's happening. Brock Lesnar's fighting somebody. We'll get there. Don't start yet. There will be an IC title match. There will be a women's tag title match. Edge, Balor, Dom, Ray. I got 11 matches, 2 nights. Maybe you get up to 16, but these matches are much longer under Triple H than they were under Vince McMahon. Remember, we got Sami and KO at WrestleMania, and that match was 8 minutes long, and it was like the second or third longest match of the entire weekend. Do you think we get up to 16? And if you do, what are the 5 matches? What are the stories? I don't know what's out there. As you said, people will be invested in. This is WrestleMania, after all. You don't have to get to 16. How many more get added to those 11?
This is why I think they should do the women's the 6-woman tag, because that would be 12. Then what else do you got? I gotta rack my brain now. You're making me think on a Tuesday afternoon here.
I brought up Otis and Bronson Reed. Are they really going to build to that?
Why not? There you go. I mean, in a Triple H, we're gonna get 14 matches, 7 matches on each night. So you really only need 3 more matches. And it seems like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley pissed in Triple H's Cheerios, and they're not going to be in the same matchup. We're going to get Brock and Omos, and we're going to get Lashley and Wyatt. So that is your second matchup. So that puts us at 13. And then you could either do that mixed tag match or Otis versus Bronson Reed. Neither one of those matches, I think, are going to get much of a reaction. But yeah. I think that's what we're gonna do.
I think there would be now. Remember, this is WrestleMania. These are your hardcore. This isn't like a Super Bowl crowd. All right, this is your hardcore wrestling.
You can do the Andre. You can bring back the Andre the Giant Memorial.
Man, they might do that. They might do the women's battle royal. Queen had an idea.
Braun Strowman doesn't have a matchup at WrestleMania.
Braun Strowman doesn't have a matchup. Ricochet. There are a lot of names that don't have matchups.
Damian Priest. All the Judgment Day have matches except for Damian Priest.
Which is kind of why I'm hoping, instead of getting Finn Balor and Edge one-on-one, it's what you brought up. We get Randy Orton coming back healthy, and we get rated RKO against Priest and Edge to at least get Damian on the card somewhere. Like I said, there are a lot of people who I don't know how they get there. I agree with you. I think we're going to get 14. I think we're going to get 7 each night. Maybe we get a women's battle royal. Queen brought up earlier the fact that maybe they do some kind of number 1 contenders match to get some of the other women on the card. Possibility. We'll see.
The WrestleMania women's battle royal.
Yeah, something along those areas. Now, I want to go back to something that you said just now. There's no way Omos is facing Brock Lesnar in Hollywood. There's no way that's the match. There's no
Ladies and
way.
gentlemen,
All respect due to Omos. This is random AF. There is no way that this is the match of WrestleMania. None. There's no way. No way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brock
No
Lesnar pissed off Triple H with what he did at the Royal Rumble, hurting a referee. And I think the appropriate punishment is you got a match with Omos at WrestleMania.
Here's the other thing.
I was crackling. I was cackling.
Brock Lesnar doubled down on that shit because apparently the ref F5 in Elimination Chamber wasn't planned either. So Triple H got pissed at him for an unplanned referee bump at Royal Rumble, and then he said, fuck it, and he did it again at Elimination Chamber.
I was cackling after MVP suggested that Omos face Brock Lesnar. And then I was cackling even more when Bobby Lashley came out and beat up Elias and basically just felt like he was moving on from Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry, if I get kicked in the dick and then made to look inferior post-match, I would want to fight Brock Lesnar again. Why does it sound like you're just moving on?
You don't do a DQ finish unless these two are going to fight again at WrestleMania. It doesn't make any sense. Steven saying Brock versus Otis, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. No, that would be the Otis versus Bronson Reed match. That's your Cinnamon Toast Crunch match right there. That's your Cinnamon Toast Crunch match.
You do Alpha Academy versus Maximum Male Models in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch match. Look at that. Look at that. Cinnamon Toast Crunch match got Rick knocking down lights on his.
I'm knocking down lights. I'm hitting stationary hotkeys, preset hotkeys. I'm like, oh, I told you I am a hot mess right now. But yeah, no, for real though. This has got to be a swerve. I agree with Javon. This has got to be a swerve. I was genuinely interested when Bray Wyatt on Friday called out the winner of Brock and Bobby, and I'm like, oh, are we finally going to get Brock and Bray like legitimately, like we were supposed to get back in 2016? Oh, no, because there was a DQ finish. Your rubber match had a DQ finish, and the match started off hot. I'm into it. I'm going, all right, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Big, meaty men bumping meat, hitting finishers, this, that, and the other. Oh, he hit him in the nuts. Are you fucking kidding me? So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do a triple threat with Bray, mixed in there. I don't know. No. Oh my gosh, man. I don't know how they do that finish and then say, screw it. We're going straight to Omos versus Brock Lesnar. This has got to be a setup for the Hurt Business to reunite or some bullshit, something. Brock and Bobby are not going to be in separate matches at WrestleMania. I will eat this hat. Not really, but figuratively eat this hat if they're not in the same match at WrestleMania. Before WrestleMania shows up, SP3, we do have a pay-per-view within the next 2 weeks, although you might not know it by the ticket sales that are going on right now for AEW Revolution. WrestleTix.com, or not WrestleTix.com, but WrestleTix on Twitter. There's about a third of the tickets available. They have sold about 6,500. They have a little under 3,000 left 2 weeks out. Should AEW be concerned about the event selling the way that it is right now? Granted, I think only 4 matches are booked. So maybe if some people in San Francisco, maybe they're waiting on some of that card to get filled out a little bit before they buy tickets. But still, 2 weeks out, you got 3,000 tickets left. Concerning? Yes or no?
Yeah, definitely. AEW feels the least hot and interesting it's been in a while, and it's coming off a streak of like 6-7 AEW Dynamites that were great shows. Despite that, they don't have any storylines that are really gripping the people. I think that they have 2 good storylines in MJF and Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley, but they haven't really got behind those to the point that it really feels like smoking hot feuds like last year's Revolution was, when you had CM Punk and MJF, you had Hangman and Adam Cole, you had Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. They had 3 to 4 to 5 matches, Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, that felt hot, that felt like we really want to see these matches. And a lot of the card, half of the card for Revolution is rematches. Hangman and Moxley is the 4th time they're facing each other. Yep. Wardlow and Samoa Joe is like the third time they face each other in some form, a three-way at Full Gear, the singles match in December, and now this match. So they have to kind of put matches that are fresh, that are new, that are hot, and they have to get behind it. I think it was a big mistake in just starting House of Black and Elite. I thought that you should have been done this. You should have been had House of Black jump the Elite after the Elite won the ladder match on the January 11th episode, or at least jump the Bucks on the following week when the Young Bucks lost to Top Flight, instead of doing the whole Top Flight and AR Fox versus the Elite and then getting to House of Black. It feels like too late in the game. So they have a lot of tickets left. It doesn't look good for them, and they don't feel as hot as they once were.
Like, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what else are they going to like put on this card. Maybe Orange Cassidy has a match. Maybe he loses the TNT Championship to Wheeler Yuta on Wednesday, and they run it back. They got the women's tag team thing that they're running right now, and they're kind of building up all of that around one feud, one match right now. So I mean, what
they have some things that are already kind of set up. They just have to announce it. Like I said, Elite and House of Black, Jamie Hayter versus Ruby Soho, or maybe a three-way with Saraya to continue the whole feud that they have going on. I don't think they need a big card because they have a 1 hour Iron Man match in the main event.
That's very true.
So really, they only really need maybe 3, maybe 4 more matches, and they already got Elite and House of Black, so really only 3 more matches at best needs to, hopefully if they're smart, needs to be added to this card.
Yeah, less might be more with this show. I think another thing that's working against them is, as much as MJF and Bryan Danielson is going to kick ass, I think many of us believe that MJF is still walking away with the AEW World Championship, and a predictable finish, albeit going to be a really, really good match. I think that might hinder some people from saying, is that a selling point for me? When the rest of what's been announced so far is, like you said, rematches. So they got a bit of work to do. We'll see if hopefully they can ramp up some ticket sales. And somebody brought it up earlier in the chat, and I'm sorry I missed it. And yeah, look, we're not sitting here saying that, we're not trying to paint doom and gloom on AEW like, oh, they're gonna lose Kenny Omega, oh, they're gonna lose the Young Bucks, and oh, they're losing out on Jay White, now they can't sell tickets. We're not saying this is a negative. We're just talking about, reports and facts. We want AEW to live and thrive because the wrestling business is better. So I'm hoping that this gets better for them. Could we see Miro at Revolution? I'm not gonna believe we're gonna see Miro at AEW until he shows up. That's where I'm at right now, Frantic. That's where I'm at. One thing that could really help out the product, SP3, is figuring out what to do with Jade Cargill. She wrestled for all of about 35 seconds on Rampage on Friday. Vert Vixen, who's a very talented young woman, she didn't get to do a whole lot in this match. Jade Cargill squashed Vert Vixen to go to 53-0, defending the TBS championship. She has effectively run out of opponents on the lower end of the card, mid to lower end of the card, outside of Chris Statlander, who's hurt right now. Don't know when she's going to come back. There were points where she came down to the ring where she, like, her whole entire presentation, right, used to be must see, must watch. There were points in that match, and this is just me speculating. I'm not saying that she was trying to showcase this. She looked bored on Friday. There were points where you could just see it in her eyes that she was like, why am I out here doing this kind of stuff again? She has beaten the Ruby Soho. She has beaten the Willow Nightingale. She has had so many enhancement matches. She's talked about in interviews that she is ready to face the Britt Bakers of the world. Like, that's where she wants to go, is to face the upper echelon of the card. And really, that's the only people that she hasn't faced yet. But it appears that she is stuck in a holding pattern. Like, Tony Khan is waiting for something, but I don't know how much longer that you can keep her there before people just stop giving a crap, because all of her stuff right now is just cookie cutter the same. And it's starting to bug me, frankly. And I think it's starting to show with her. I think her frustrations are starting to leak out a little bit on TV.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but she desperately needs something. It's past the point of holding power. It's gotten stale. And the whole winning streak, the undefeated streak, has become an albatross around her neck, where people are not seeing the improvement that she really has made in her overall in the ring, her presentation, everything has improved for her in the past year, but we've gone on like 6 months without her having a substantial threat to her championship run and her undefeated streak, or even an interesting storyline. They had her it looked like she was going to feud with Bow Wow. Then it looked like she was going to feud with the baddies. And then they did nothing to make either one of Kira Hogan or Red Velvet seem like a threat to her.
Yeah.
And then now she's just doing nothing. After that was done, she's doing nothing right now.
Yeah. They simultaneously, it's weird to think this, but they simultaneously drug their feet on and then rushed her feud with Athena, which could have been spectacular. It felt like it took forever to get to the match because they barely showcased either one of them on TV during their build. And then the match was all of like 6 minutes long. It was a good match, but like 6 minutes long in Chicago at All Out. And then it was over. It was done. And I'm like, okay, what was the point of that? And then they turned Athena heel, and now she's the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and that's great and everything. But that should have been so much more than what it was. That was a very important rivalry for Athena. And yeah, man, like I think they dropped the ball on that. And yeah, she's just chilling. And I don't know if he's waiting for Chris Statlander. I don't know if he's waiting for Britt and Jamie and Saraya and Tony Storm to finish up with what they're doing. But how many more weeks is that going to go along? It just seems like I don't know, Steven. Are they trying to get, Mercedes in at some point and maybe not Revolution? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do Mercedes versus Jay, but if they're bringing in Mercedes, she ain't losing. Steven Chambers also saying Thunder Rosa possibility whenever she gets back. Who knows when she's going to be healthy? It seems like Tony's waiting on something. I don't know how much longer he can wait. SP3, what you got going on True Heel Heat this week?
Check out our reviews of WWE Elimination Chamber from this past Sunday. Myself, Ness, and Wendy reviewed that one. Monday, we did our NJPW Battle in the Valley review, talking about Mercedes Moné defeating Kyrie for the IWGP Women's Championship, talking about the final match for Jay White and a tremendous bout with him and Eddie Kingston. Later this week, I got the AEW Dynamite review, AE Ramble on Thursday, and on Friday, we are dropping my exclusive interview with my favorite wrestler in the world, one of the nicest people in professional wrestling, Speedball, Mike Bailey. So check that out.
Yeah. Feel free to check out my conversation with Montez Ford. It's still a really, really good conversation. It's up there right now here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. By the way, for those who are curious, Fightful Select just had a report why Chelsea Green wasn't on Raw. She's got some green card issues. So Chelsea Green card, not working right now. That was actually hilarious. Her calling Adam Pearce last night to say that she was accidentally got sent to Ottawa, Illinois. So that was pretty damn funny. That was a creative way to keep that bit rolling. Chelsea Green is been absolute money in this role since she came back. Check out my conversation with Montez Ford. It is up there right now. Really appreciate you for doing that. I Bleav on Monday, I'm going to drop my conversation with Mia Yim from Royal Rumble weekend because she had some really, really nice things to say about Dakota Kai. And Dakota Kai, well, at least up until Monday, is going to be women's tag team champions. So that may not be the case afterwards. So I'm going to have her say some nice things about Dakota Kai on Monday. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show today. Thank you guys so much for chiming in today with all of your comments. Sorry I didn't get to more of them, but hey, there's another show next week, 2:15 p.m. We'll be here. Bleav in Pro Wrestling. Brought to you by